Yo, so the title of this video is going to be, what is the point? What is the point? As I prepare to head into my slave, my plantation, which is called the job. As I was on my way to my plantation this morning, my job just over broke, I encountered a male. Now, I see this male, this I guess they call Hispanic now, male. I see him on a I see this male, can you hear me? On a pretty consistent basis. I see him every time I stop at this store, this supermarket that I go to on my way to my plantation. And he's an older male. It looks like he's in his 60s, maybe late 60s to early 70s. And every day he's pretty much early in the morning, 6 in the morning, he's in front of this supermarket, and I am assuming that he's asking for change. And I've been in that position before, so I know what it's like to beg for money from strangers. So I decided this morning to ask him, what's the point? What's the point? Y'all getting it raw and uncut. Whenever y'all watch Jay International videos, it's raw and uncut, baby. Y'all heard that. But anyway, I asked him, I said, what's the point? And, he naturally said, sorry, I don't speak much English. I speak a little English, but not much. I said, okay. I asked him a question. I said, was it worth it? You came to America, and I asked him where he's from. He's from Guatemala. You came to America to be standing in front of a store begging for money. And if you would have stayed in your home country of Guatemala, would the situation have been any worse? Or would it have been about the same? Meaning that if you stayed in Guatemala, would you have met and fulfilled the basic necessities? Would you have met and filled the basic necessity of having a roof over your head? It didn't have to be luxurious. It doesn't have to be a luxurious roof, but just a basic roof over your head, food to eat, and clothing and water. And in a nutshell, he pretty much said it'd probably be about the same. Because I said, well, Guatemala's not in a war environment. It's not like it's Palestine and Israel. It's like, I'm pretty sure outside of your regular gangs, but they got gangs here. That's pretty much the only problems, right? So more than likely, he and a lot of immigrants in his position, they come to America because they believe that in America they're going to have the American dream. They believe that I got to make it to the land of milk and honey, because that's what they show. That's what the family said. But when they get here, they realize the harsh reality is a lot of us are just struggling to get by from day to day, working from check to check, and that it's a constant grind, a constant struggle to survive, to pay your bills. And you have about the chance of hitting the lottery at this point, given your lack of the English language, your lack of education, your lack of resources and knowledge of achieving the American dream, right? And so you have to say, well, what's the point? And I thought about it, and I said, well, the argument is going to be, well, in my country, you don't have the social programs that the United States have, right? You don't have welfare, you don't have food stamps, you don't have Medicaid or Medicare, and the U.S. provides that. So if one wants to go with that argument, I say, okay, as someone that has been on government assistance, if you are a single male on government assistance, you are not getting a lot of benefits, okay? As a single male, you're not getting thousands. More than likely, you're probably going to get, at the most, for your cash benefit, $200. For your food stamps, $300 to $400. Now, anybody that lives in the state of California, especially either in cities like Los Angeles or the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco, anywhere in the Bay Area, where would $300 get you in food stamps when our eggs are costing $12 to $10 for a dozen, right? Where is that going to get you? More than likely, within the first week, that $300 is gone, and that's only that $300 is only probably going to cover groceries for about a week or a half, right? Now, as far as the cash benefit, anywhere in the state of California are you going to find a place that you can rent for $200 to $300 per month? I'll wait. Yeah, nowhere. So, you say, well, the free health care, the Obamacare. If you've been on the government health care, you know it's not the best, okay? We know it is not the best, okay? You don't get to see the doctor when you want to see the doctor. If you schedule an appointment, more than likely it's going to be months on out. If you have any type of emergency situation, what are they going to tell you? Go to the emergency room. And what's going to happen in the emergency room? You're going to be left with a bill, right? So you can't use the healthcare argument. You can't use the cash benefit. You can't use the food stamps, because even when you get those as a single male, you're struggling. Hell, if you get it as a family, it's not sufficient, because even if they give you $1,000, $1,500. The average rent in California, in the Bay Area, in Los Angeles is over $2,500. So you're not even getting enough to even afford a rent. And you may say, "Oh, I'll get on Section 8. How long does it take to finally get approved on Section 8? A few years. So what ends up happening is that you see the same situation. The guy probably gonna get his benefits at the beginning of the month, and he's gonna be broke within a week. And he's going to be out there begging for change in the cold, in the fog. So you say, well, what's the fucking point? What is the fucking point? If that's how it's got to be, what's the fucking point of coming here? It seems to me, if I was in that situation and I had if I came from another country and I know I had, family or whatever in that country, that pretty much my basic needs would be taken care of. I would have a place to stay. I would have food to eat. I would have, and if I live a healthy lifestyle, I don't have to, if I live a healthy, decent lifestyle, I don't have to worry too much about, medical costs or medical bills. If I live a healthy lifestyle, if I had that option, I'd get the hell out of here, because it's not worth it. It is not worth it. You are not going to live the American dream, period. The American dream is dead, even for a lot of Americans. only the small percentage of Americans are going to live this American dream. And even they are even that small percentage is starting to get smaller, right? And I'll end it with this. You know, I remember one time I was talking to this Cuban guy. Now we know about Cuba. We know that, you know, they're on a communist socialist system, meaning that they're basic. They get I think they get the basic accommodations as far as a place to stay. They get a monthly stipend for food, and they probably get the government health care. But basically, all of their basic needs are covered by the government, the Cuban government. And I was talking to this guy, and I was just, I was discussing him like, why did you leave Cuba, And his complaint was, oh, I wasn't getting enough. And when we had to go for grocery shopping for food, we had to stand in line to get our food, and it was just real bad. We had to stand in line, and I said, okay, that may be the case, but you still got your food, right? Yeah. And you still had a place to stay, right? Yeah. And you still had your health care if you needed it, right? And Cuba has some of the best doctors, by the way. Yeah. So, like, what did you came to America because you thought that you're going to get that American dream, right? That's what you thought. Your fellow Cubans told you, the ones that managed to get successful, said, well, you can live the American dream. And more than likely, you're just going to work a regular job. You're going to have to probably work 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. So you're going to be working about 14 to 16 hours per day, 5 to 6 days per week. All for what? To have you a little nice apartment that you can enjoy. Oh, you get to drive around in a car, but what do you really get to drive around in this car that you're making payments on? To go to work? To go back and forth to work? Like, when you really look at the big picture, what you're trading for it's not worth it, because you don't get to enjoy none of the shit that you're working for. You're constantly working. Are you too tired to enjoy it when you get a day off? You just want to rest. Or you're not making enough money to really even do nothing. So, for me, I don't see the point. I really don't see the point. Like, I can understand if you were, I can understand if you were, how can I explain this? I can understand if you come from like a real bad war-torn country that's in war right now, like Ukraine or Palestine. I can understand you want to get away from that shit because you want to survive. You want your family to live. You don't want to get killed, right? I can understand that. But if you're thinking about escaping to America for economic reasons, from a country that's not in that type of war-torn environment, it's worthless. And you don't come with no skills, right? Because the East Indians, right? We could say the East Indians, but look what the East Indians come with. They come with advanced skills in STEM. So when they're coming here, they're coming on HB1 visas, and they're getting hired at the top tech companies, and right off the bat, they're making $100K to $200K and up a year. It's worth it for them. But we're talking about lower skilled immigrants with none of those skills coming here just to be laborers, just to be standing in front of Home Depot waiting for a car to pick them up to go do some manual labor work. It's worthless. If you have a situation in your country where you have a place to stay, you have food to eat, and you have clothes on your back, you might as well stay in your home country. Don't come here, because there's going to be a constant, consistent struggle. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.